First up is the Band of the Mystic Scoundrel. This is a ring that most players will probably miss, and it's quite powerful. It provides Illusion Quickening. After hitting an enemy with a weapon attack, you can cast illusion or enchantment spells as a bonus action called Quickening Incantation. This is great on an Arcane Trickster like Astarion, who can cast Sleep, Crown of Madness, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and so on as a bonus action after attacking. It could also be useful on Clerics, who could follow up their attack with Command, Silence, or Hold Person, for example. And this ring is very well hidden because it's tucked away in the corner of the Jungle of Chult in Act 3. To get there, you'll need to play Spin the Wheel with Akabi after stealing his ring in order to win the jackpot. Once you win, you'll be teleported to the jungle. From there, you'll need to travel southwest until you find some corpses, climb the rocks there, and then jump onto the tree root and cross it, leading to an abandoned camp. Within that camp, there will be a backpack containing the elusive Band of the Mystic Scoundrel. And if you like that tip, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe for more Baldur's Gate 3 videos. Number 2 is Bonespike Gloves. These incredibly powerful gloves grant exoskeletal reinforcement, which makes your attacks ignore resistance to slashing, piercing, and bludgeoning damage. Enough said. These gloves are found on Strangler Luke's body within the Undercity. Strangler Luke can be found at the first trial as you attempt to cross the bridge to the Temple of Baal, where you need to defeat Death's Gatekeeper before the ritual completes and your party is defeated. Now, the reason these gloves are so rare is because you have to loot Strangler Luke during the trial, because once the trial ends, the body actually disappears along with the gloves. But if you can pull it off, these are amazing for any physical damage dealer. Number 3 is the Pale Oak Staff, earned by becoming the Faithwarden. It provides you with both Faithwarden Stride and Vines, which makes it so that you cannot be ensnared by druidic vines, and the vines do not count as difficult terrain. Faithwarden's vines allow you to sprout vines from the ground, entangling creatures and slowing them. Now, while this is a very rare quarterstaff already, what makes it even more likely to be missed is that it is only obtainable by druids. To get this rare quarterstaff, you need to travel far south to discover Korga is working with shadow druids, confront her, and defeat the shadow druids and persuade her to stop what she's doing. And while the cutscene with Jaheira, where she uses vines on you in Act 2, still works, you do get new dialogue options by being a Faithwarden, which I think is pretty cool. Number 4 is Slinging Shoes. Unlike most boots, these boots are meant to be thrown at your enemy. On hit, they deal an additional 2d4 psychic damage and then return to its owner. These unique boots can only be purchased from Tara in the lower city. She can be found on the roof of Highberry's home. However, Tara only appears at this location if you've previously spoken to her on the roof of the Open Hand Temple with Gale in your party during the Find the Missing Letters quest. Then visit her on the roof of Devil's Fee, purchase the Hat of the Sharp Caster from her, and then finally take a long rest and you can purchase these boots. Tara accepts fish and magical items as payment for these boots, and I'd say it's worth it. You won't find a pair of shoes that can deal out as much throwing damage as these. Number 5 is Larethian's Wrath. This sword is the only weapon in the game that gives access to Razor Gale, which creates a cyclone of steel that deals razor blade sharp damage to all enemies within range. Unlike Cleave, Razor Gale does not have a maximum number of targets. This is a great option for AoE against a large number of enemies, and acquiring this sword isn't too difficult. All you have to do is go to Kresh Yulik and then purchase it from a Jack near Jira. Number 6 is the Deva Mace. The Deva Mace deals 1d6 plus your strength modifier bludgeoning damage plus 4d8 radiant damage. This makes this mace capable of dealing an incredibly high amount of damage and especially good for smiting. This mace is probably something players missed because it cannot be looted like a regular item. To get this mace, you'll need to head to the Stormshore Tabernacle and go into the basement. There you'll find the donation chests with items inside. If you don't see anything inside, you can add an item to it yourself, take the items out of the chest, and you'll get cursed. And upon dispelling or healing the cursed target, 1 to 2 divas will spawn. Defeat them and loot their corpses, and then bring their corpses to camp, drop them on the ground, and then take a long rest. When you wake up, all that will remain where their bodies were will be a sack with the amazing Deva Mace inside. Number 7 is the Spellmight Gloves. Spellmight Gloves grant Spellmight. When casting a spell that requires an attack roll, you can take a -5 penalty to the roll to deal an additional 1d8 damage. Now, in order to get these gloves, you'll need to head to the Circus of the Last Days and talk to Lucretius, who is looking for his missing clown. By searching all over Baldur's Gate for pieces of the clown and bringing them all back to Lucretius, you can get these gloves as a quest reward. However, it is much easier to just kill Lucretius and take the gloves from his corpse. These gloves only apply to spells with an attack roll as of patch 4, so they were better before, but I'd say they're still quite good considering they work with Eldritch Blast. And number 8 is is Markoheshkir and Robes of the Weave. Now, Markoheshkir is arguably the best staff in the game. It grants +1 to spell save DC and spell attack rolls, Arcane Battery, which makes your next spell not cost a spell slot, and Kareska's Favor, which allows you to imbue yourself with an element to unlock resistances and spells associated with that element. Robes of the Weave grants a +1 bonus to spell save DC and spell attack rolls as well, and it gives you Weave Eater, which heals the wearer for 1d6 after succeeding a saving throw against a spell. And the reason these are together is because they're right beside each other in game. In Ramzith's tower, after you climb down the floating furniture, one of the weave buttons below can teleport you even lower, where these two items are protected by globes of invulnerability. By having see invisibility on your character, you can discover the levers which dispel the globes. In order to flip the lever though, you'll need to pass a DC 20 Arcana check, one for each item. But if you can, these amazing items can be yours. And number 9 is Svartlebee's Woundseeker. This greatsword grants a 1d4 bonus to attack rolls against enemies who do not have full HP. This is great on melee characters who have the Great Weapon Master feat, which is when you land a critical hit or kill a target with a melee weapon attack, you can make another melee weapon attack as a bonus action that turn, and attacks with heavy melee weapons you are proficient in can deal an additional 10 damage at the cost of a -5 attack roll penalty. So this 1d4 bonus to attack rolls helps mitigate the drawback of Great Weapon Master's -5 attack roll penalty. This particular greatsword is found on none other than Gauntlet Yiva. You can find Yiva in Act 1 at Joaquin's Rest, or in Act 2 in the Mind Flayer Colony. Just use command drop on her and the blade will be yours. Number 10 is Foebreaker. This two-handed maul ignores bludgeoning resistance and deals 2d6 +2 plus your strength modifier in bludgeoning damage. This weapon is great considering how many enemies you run into with resistance to bludgeoning. To get this maul, you'll need to head to the vault under Sorcerer's Sundries. After solving the Karsus door puzzle, the room behind the door contains 2 invisible chests. You'll need see invisibility in order to open them, and in one of the chests is the very rare Foebreaker. And number 11 is the Smuggler's Ring. This well-hidden uncommon ring grants +2 to stealth and sleight of hand, which is very, very handy for pickpocketing. It's found in Act 1 on a skeleton hidden in a bush on the lower path near the river, close to the broken bridge on the Risen Road. And number 12 is the Pointy Hat. Found in a chest behind Lucretius in the Circus of the Last Days, this hat grants a bonus to your persuasion checks equal to your intelligence modifier. So if you wanted to have your wizard be your dialogue character, this could help a lot for situations where you can use persuasion. And number 13 is the Warped Headband of Intellect. This circlet raises the wearer's intelligence score to 17. To get this, you'll need to head to the Blighted Village and find Lump and his band of ogres. And you might be wondering, can I just pickpocket this off of Lump? And I tested it, and in fact you cannot, because it's actually his nose ring, so it's not in his pocket. You can find his war horn in there, but that also isn't very valuable unless you come to an agreement with him through dialogue. However, you can acquire the Warped Headband of Intellect by slaying Lump and finding it on his corpse. Now this circlet is very powerful because it sets your intelligence score to 17, so you can change your class at Withers and reassign your ability points elsewhere, and then keep your intelligence boosted to 17, which makes this a very nice circlet. And number 14 is the Ring of Poison Resistance. This rare ring grants, you guessed it, resistance to poison damage. That means that every source of damage that deals poison is halved, which can be very helpful in certain situations, like when up against Cloudkill. This handy ring can be found in a sarcophagus in front of the prison room in the Goblin Camp in Act 1. And finally, number 15 is Worgfang. This weapon is very situational but helpful immediately. The Worgfang grants Goblin's Undoing, which gives goblins disadvantage on attack rolls against the wielder. This can be very useful if you have a frontline character designed to tank as much damage as possible, or really any melee character who's about to go up against some goblins. It's tucked away in the prison cell in the Shattered Sanctum, which contained the 2 wargs, and it's located on a skeleton. And what's really cool is the flavor text on this dagger reads, "No goblin shall strike you down," is etched into this dagger's handle. When goblin assailants realized that they couldn't kill the dagger's original owner, they gave him to the wargs, who made short work of him. And those are 15 items you might have missed in Baldur's Gate 3. Let me know if there's anything else I missed in the comments. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.